Assalamu alaikum, guys. It has been so long since I last made a YouTube video. I can't remember the last time I actually made one, and I believe it was when I was in my first apartment, and that was like a summer ago that I made that video in my very first apartment that I moved into when I moved out of my parents' home. So, before I get started, I just want to say all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him and seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from our soul's evils and our wrongdoings. He whom Allah guides, no one can misguide, and he whom He must guide, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, alone without any partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is His prophet and messenger. So, if you are new to my channel, if you're someone that has watched my videos before, it's new. You get to see my face for the first time if you're not someone that knows me in real life. Um, it was a difficult choice to take the niqab off. It was something I was very, very passionate about, and I still am very passionate about this to this day. May Allah reward all the sisters that continue to struggle and wear the niqab. It's definitely a beautiful thing to wear that for the sake of Allah. And all I can say for now about my experience is that it was a very difficult one. I didn't necessarily have the support of family and very many friends around me that even wore niqab. So that in itself was really hard for me because I definitely have struggled in itself to just wear hijab, to just wear the covering over my hair, and then going on and trying to cover my face and live my day-to-day life. It was definitely a lot harder than I had anticipated. And it's not to say that just because it's hard you stop doing it, but I definitely lacked the support. I definitely lacked the iman to be strong enough to continue to do it. And maybe inshallah one day I will go back to wearing it. I never know. But anyways, on that topic, I can talk more about it if anyone in the comments wants to ask if I want to talk more about my experience wearing niqab. But the main reason I actually wanted to make a video today is I had this training called the Freedom School, and it was talking about race and racism. Um, and it was definitely an interesting experience. I learned, it was 3 days, it was a 3 day training. Today was the last day. It was definitely eye opening for me, and I learned a lot about the role of race and the role of racism within education and the justice system. And for me, I'm really passionate about that. I am actually going to school right now. I attend college and I'm planning to become a teacher, and right now I actually work in the public schools. I'm one of two Muslim women that work within the school, and one of three Black women that work within the school. So um, it's definitely interesting to see the dynamic of, especially if you're working within a school that is mainly urban youth, meaning like youth of color that are not white, and all their teachers are white. It's definitely interesting to not have that a mentor and a teacher that don't look like you around in the schools. So, what I really wanted to touch on is more than anything the role of anti-blackness within the Muslim community. And honestly, this has been eating away at me. Last night, I could not sleep. I was up until probably about 3 a.m., just tossing and turning, thinking about how sad it is that being black, and it's not a new thing, obviously, but being black and being Muslim is really trying and hard in these times. And I know that speaking on my own experience, it's not going to be the same as someone else's, because I do realize that um, I am only half black. If you don't know my ethnicity, I'm half Oromo, half Latina. So I am only half black. So, but that doesn't change the fact that I might not experience um, racism and discrimination amongst many different platforms. But I also realize that I do have a privilege being lighter versus someone darker, experiencing a lot harsher um, a lot harsher. I don't trials, I would say, from within the Muslim community and outside of it. So one thing that really makes me sad is when, and I find um, all races to be beautiful, but in particular for me, my mother's black, my grandmother is black, my aunt is black, and so these were the first women in my life that I saw and that I looked up to, and that I looked for in terms of to look at what's beautiful. And what's sad is that in our society there aren't many models and accurate representation of black women within the media, within magazines, within many different platforms. If you see a black woman on media, portrayed in the media, within movies, within TV shows, um, they're always seen as like this angry black woman and she's crazy and like all this other stuff. And in terms of beauty, it's like the lighter you are, the more beautiful you are supposed to be. And it's sad because it's having such a huge effect on young black girls, especially young black Muslim girls, because um, we also have to be wear hijab, and like it doesn't mean that we don't aren't affected by what we feel like is looks beautiful, because a lot of times we wear makeup and we might wear a lighter shade just to look more beautiful, because in the media that's what we were told is light is beautiful. And I also have seen a lot of times that Muslim girls tend to dye their hair, dye their hair a lighter color. They'll wear blue contacts. And one time I wrote on Facebook that I dislike the idea of wearing contacts because I just feel like it's putting one. I don't understand why, if you, especially if you have brown eyes are very, very beautiful. I don't understand why we have to try and change our eye color in order to look beautiful to other people, or to ourselves. Like, why is it that, and I understand it's not our fault. We've been conditioned this way. We've been conditioned to think that blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin is the beautiful ideal. Um, but yeah, it makes me sad to when I see other Muslim girls trying to change their, wear colored contacts, um, dye their hair to look blonde, wear like really light makeup to change their skin tone. And I understand that sometimes, especially if you're a youth, it's hard to kind of fight these all these different beauty ideals that are put towards you. I know as a youth I struggled. I wanted to be white. I wanted to have blue eyes. I wanted to have long beautiful hair and all that. And so that's why I really stress like the fact of having black teachers, black mentors, black sisters supporting each other and letting each other know that okay, your hair doesn't look like this model where it's long and beautiful and straight, but that doesn't mean that your hair type, your skin color, your eye color, um, it's not beautiful. And I really wish that we stress that more within the Muslim community, because even though we wear hijab and we say like, it's hijab isn't about, showing off your beauty and all this other stuff, that doesn't mean that Muslim girls aren't still gonna struggle to try and look beautiful, or to try to look like the Eurocentric um, ideal of looking beautiful. Um, so then there's also, I had a video a while back where I talked about how I wish that within the Muslim community there wasn't this fear of marrying outside of your culture, and like how that I personally, because I am a multiracial woman, that I wish more people would marry outside of their cultures, because indeed Allah created different nations for us to get to know each other, to get to know each other better. Um, and I think I've learned a lot and since I've made that video, and I definitely still support interracial couples, intercultural um, marriages and that thing. But I think, well, first I wanted to just say that it's sad that when it does come time for a woman or a man to find a spouse, that the family will limit them. A lot of the times I've been told, um, by like my Arab friends that they wouldn't consider someone black, and not necessarily because they don't consider a black man or woman to be beautiful. It's more of because their family wouldn't accept someone who is black, and this idea that like it's so taboo um, if you're Pakistani or white passing um, as a Muslim to marry and have children with a black person. It's such a huge thing. Um, but I also wanted to talk about the reverse, that there is an obsession, and I can speak on this because being a mixed person, I've been told this all the time that um, you want to marry somebody who's a lighter tone than you so that you can have children, mixed babies. There's this fetish and obsession with having mixed babies, marrying somebody lighter so that generations to come, the blackness will slowly diminish. And this is honestly a disease not just within the black Muslim community, but just the black community in general, that we want our kids to be lighter because so they don't have to face some of the same struggles that maybe we have um, as black men and women. But it is really sad that I would think that if you are marrying somebody outside of your culture, it's because you genuinely love them and care for them and you're compatible, and not necessarily that you're trying to marry outside of your culture because you don't want to have children that are 100% black or 100% African, or um, you're trying to run away from blackness in that sort of sense, if that makes sense. Um, and then I also have been, and this really frustrates me as well, as again as a black woman, when I hear black men and black women um, putting down their own culture and their own um, the opposite gender. Well, what I'm trying to say is like I've seen, and it really disgusts me, really angers me. I've seen things like black men say, "Well, I don't find black women attractive. I don't think their features are attractive to me." And I understand people have preferences. Like I feel you. Like I thought I had a preference, and maybe I do. I think, but I've been attracted to different types of people. I've been attracted to Arab men. I've been attracted to white men. I've been attracted to black men. But again, I can only speak on my own experience because I feel like I am biased because I come from a multicultural family. So I've always been exposed to different cultures, and I've always found that beautiful. But I can see how if you're only exposed to one culture, you can only find that culture beautiful, or I guess the reverse, that like even though you are black and your mother is black and your father is black, your grandma, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins are black, that you sort of, and I just feel like maybe it's a conditioning, maybe it's a self hatred thing, like psychologically, like you don't like being black, so you don't want to end up with someone black. And I don't understand why, if you're black, that you would say you don't find blackness beautiful because you're black. So does that mean that you don't find yourself attractive to other people? If you're saying that you don't find black women attractive, does that mean that your own mother who birthed you don't think that she is beautiful? Your sister, she's not beautiful because she's black and has black features? And again, I'm only speaking on my own experience, and this is my own thought process. If anyone else can interpret it in a different way, by all means. But I just don't like hearing this, that, and I'm not even just coming from a black person, even someone who's non-black, when they say, I don't want to end up with someone black, I don't find them attractive. And I've always tried to make excuses for that and say like, okay, so you, you don't find them attractive, I guess that's just your preference. Um, and a lot of the times I think it has to do with family. Like, your family, they're the ones that kind of tell you and make you think of. They're the first exposure to tell you what is beautiful and what you should like and what you should not like. And I think within a lot of Muslim cultures, that's what happens, is that parents sort of dictate who their kids are going to end up with and limit them in terms of like, no, you can't marry someone white, you can't marry someone Arab, you can't marry someone black. So that's what I kind of have always been thinking is maybe when somebody, especially when someone non-black says they don't want to marry someone black, it's because their family has limited them. But when you tell me specifically that you don't want to end up with someone black because you're not attracted to those features, the black population is so diverse. We come in different shades. We have different features. I know for me personally, I've been told that I look Somali. I'm not. I am not of Somali ethnicity. If that makes sense. Um, I can pass for a lot of different things, and again, I think it has to do with being multiracial. But there's so many different features. Like Somali women, they look as not all of them look the same way. Even with Oromo women, they don't all look the same way. They're usually like you can sort of tell what they are, kind of. But then again, there's these different tribes and they have different features. So you're telling me when you don't want to end up with someone black or you're not attracted with someone black, you're not attracted to their features. So every single feature and Africa and African Americans, there's so many different features that we have. There's about 54 countries in the continent of Africa. And within those each countries, each African group or African tribe, they have different features. So you're telling me all of those features, that whole continent, none of them you can find attractive or beautiful or anything like that? Again, it's just my own thinking and understanding. It does not make sense to me. And again, I could be biased because I'm black and because I come from a multi-racial family and I see beauty in all different types of cultures and races. So, yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that there's this silence and within the Muslim community to not talk about racism, to sort of deny that there is this separation because I live here in Minnesota. I don't know about other states, but when it comes to musajids, when it comes to a lot of Muslim organizations, they're separated by the different ethnicities. So you know this is the Somali masjid, this is the Pakistani masjid, this is the Arab masjid, this is the Oromo masjid. And it's not to say that's a bad thing because a lot of the times these cultures are immigrating from their own countries and they want to have a safe space to speak their own language to interact with people of different cultures. But I do wish there was some like a few more centers or masjids where it was different people of different cultures interacting. But I also realized that that can be very complicated because there was an instance here in Minnesota where there was a masjid of different communities, ethnicities coming together to pray, to worship, to volunteer and do things together. And that ended badly because there was some racism that was happening and some of the community members decided to just leave that masjid and create their own masjid, which is really sad because a masjid is the house of Allah. There shouldn't be any sort of discrimination and dispute. But of course, we're human and we're not perfect, and this hatred of different cultures is really terrible and disgusting. But back to my point of sort of like dismissing it and sort of just shoving it under the rug and acting like it doesn't exist. It definitely exists, and it's even more frustrating when there's all these racial issues happening currently today. Black men and women being killed in the street, being sort of stopped and being afraid as a black woman and as a Muslim in the streets in wherever place you go, and not being able to talk about, not being able to vent my frustrations about what's happening to the black community today, what's happening to the African community today. The fact that it's not talked about. And when I went to the Freedom School training, it was just so beautiful to have that space to be able to talk about my frustrations about growing up in a mainly white community, going to school in a mainly all white school, and feeling vulnerable, feeling out of place, not being able to fit in because there's not anyone like you around you. And there wasn't and this is why I'm very passionate about having more Black and Muslim teachers within the education system. There was not really any Black teachers. And it is sad that when there is, oh, there's my cat. When there is Black teachers, they're silenced. They're not able to sort of speak on these issues and speak on injustices that are happening to Black students within education. But this video went a lot longer than I had anticipated it to. I think I talked too much when it comes to this topic because I'm passionate about it. But Jazakallah khair. Thank you for listening to this video. I need to do better with shortening how much I talk. But yes, thank you so very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum. Have a great day.